ladies and gentlemen, wow! What news? What news? What news? Blake Wheeler has officially been stripped of the captaincy going into the 2022-2023 season. For those of you that do not know, Blake Wheeler has been, I believe, the longest tenured captain with the Winnipeg Jets. He took over the seat after Andrew Ladd, the inaugural captain of the Winnipeg Jets, left. Who was that holdover from the Atlanta Thrashers era. There's probably maybe an Atlanta Thrashers captain who was longer, but nobody in Winnipeg acknowledges it. This news is insane because for the longest time, we have heard reports, and I myself actually have some private sources about how much Wheeler's not the best captain in terms of just his mentality off the ice and how certain players disagree with him. I'm just going to say something like, allegedly, why certain players don't like working in Winnipeg, and certain players' reports coming out of Winnipeg was that the Winnipeg Jets locker room was the worst locker room they've been a part of. And, you know, I don't want to say it's a lie because, like, after going through finally a bit of a change in terms of how we're restructuring the leadership, like, I think the biggest change here so far, like, think about the dominoes falling. First, it was Paul Maurice leaving. Paul Maurice was an enabler of the regime of leadership that we have. Also, the biggest one that I think gets overlooked by people about why this leadership group got a little out of control was Dustin Byfuglien leaving. I think Dustin Byfuglien held a lot of people accountable. I think he did. I think having Dustin Byfuglien in the room was a good offset to Wheeler's seriousness and Mark Scheifele's Mark Scheifele. And when he left, I feel like the leadership just started to tank after that. But it could have already been not great. We don't know. We only hear reports of these things years after they happen. But Blake Wheeler has been an assistant captain since 2016 and was upgraded to a captaincy once Andrew Ladd left the club. This is an interesting, like, I'm shocked that they had the balls to do this, but it's a sign in the right direction. Rick Bowness was the guy that was brought in, and I've talked to Peg City Hockey about this because we're very good friends. And we talked about this, and we're like, so are they going to move Scheifele or Wheeler? Because they're obviously a locker room problem. And we could never agree on this. We were like, well, I don't know if you can move them. The contracts are tough. Also, Scheifele still produces like a solid top sixer. And Wheeler produces not enough for his contract. But we did float the idea of getting rid of the C off Wheeler. And I will go on record saying, I never thought they'd do it. I'm shocked they did it. I'm absolutely thrilled that they did, though, because this is such a wake-up call, I think. You take the chip off the shoulder of Blake Wheeler, and honestly, it puts Mark Scheifele and Josh Morrissey on notice, too, that they need to be leaders in the locker room and need to be responsible for their actions. Now, apparently, we're going to be experimenting with assistant captains throughout the year, and I'm curious to see how this goes. But this is a sign in the right direction. Now, it might upset Blake Wheeler to the point where he asks for a trade out of Winnipeg. We don't know yet. But all in all, I think this is the best decision you could have done because this core needs to know that actions have, like, consequences and responsibilities need to be met. You need to be a responsible leader or you cannot lead this club. As simple as that. Like, we've seen captains get replaced in the past, and I'm going to name two situations where a player was stripped of the captaincy, and I'm going to tell you who took over, and you tell me if that worked out in the best interest. Joe Thornton was stripped of the captaincy. Who did they replace him with? When eventually they got a new captain? Joe Pavelski, Captain America himself. Dustin Brown was stripped of the captaincy. Who did they end up replacing him with when they got a new captain? Anze Kopitar. So, there is room. And also, both of those players still played for their clubs afterwards. Like, after being stripped of the captaincy. They didn't leave. They just changed. Like, the Kings won a Stanley Cup after that. Like, there was a changing of the guard, and they accepted it. Now, will Blake Wheeler accept it? I don't know. But I need to know, what are your guys' thoughts? Like, in the comments. I want to hear your thoughts on this. Is this the right move? Is this the wrong move? Is Wheeler gone? Who should be the next captain? And why should it be Nikolai Ehlers? No, I'm just kidding. There's a bias there, and I have to accept it. But, yeah, like, where do we go from here now? Because I'm so curious now, but I think that I've always said that the Jets locker room is something that I've tried not to think about, but has been a problem. And it's getting brought to light right now, whether we like it or not. And I'm intrigued to see what the future has in store. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to leave a like. Subscribe as well to our channel if you haven't already. We really do appreciate it. We will be covering every single Jets game that gets dropped this season, all 82. We'll be doing some live streams this year. We'll be doing some podcast episodes this year. I'll be doing some goal or no goals, all of that. We also cover the Bombers, as you know, and the Bombers are poised to make the CFL playoffs and actually have a home game. So, yeah. Thank you so much for watching. Over to like, share, subscribe, all that jazz, and we will see you next time.